All right, everybody, you know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned. Great sports talk coming up in about a minute. And welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we thank God for all those of you who have tuned in to check us out here on Saturday morning. We're very, very appreciative to you, and especially those of you who are watching us on the replay or the archive. I know a lot of you guys check us out after the show is over, but yeah, we definitely want to thank you and welcome you to the show. So today we're going to talk about a variety of issues. I'm going to do something a little different today. We actually have gone to back to the future, going back to kind of the way we used to be set up on the show, and we're also going to add the functionality of bring on our cell phone. So what that means is that you can call in onto the broadcast. That's right. I'm going to put you on the air because I know a lot of people say, I don't, I don't want to come on and maybe be like Zoom. I know you guys are afraid that I might accidentally hit you on when you have your camera on or something crazy like that, but no worries. We have the phone now, so you can go ahead and call us on the virtual phone line, and we'll bring you in that way 678 304 8121, and we will click you into the situation. We will do that. Also, remember, you can check us out anywhere on social media. Let me go ahead and pop that up here. There it is. Follow us on social media, please. Please, and especially like us on YouTube because we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We added some subscribers on recently, which is really cool. We're up to around 632, I think it is. So we'd love to have you follow us on social media, and you can follow us right there anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports, the number 7. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for doing so. Okay, so always every weekend something jumps off in sports. And of course, as you guys know, we're right in the middle of March Madness, right smack dab in the middle of that. So stuff is going on in terms of college basketball. So one of the things that are going on, the women's Final Four is in full throttle. And unfortunately, we had some nastiness that went on in the semifinals. Uh, Many of you may or may not know because some of you guys don't really follow college basketball, especially women's basketball. But South Carolina had been on an epic run this year. They came into the tournament 34-0. They were rolling, and everybody was talking about they would be the next new dynasty in women's basketball, college basketball. And they were looking like it. They knocked off UConn, and UConn had taken a step back and looked like South Carolina was a new bully in town. Well, funny you mentioned that's kind of what they're calling them, even after they lost in an epic battle against the University of Iowa, 77-73. And once again, uh, when we were a little kid, if you guys remember, they would say sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, maybe not so much, especially in today's dispensation where people are very cognizant of words and meanings within words and meanings. So, South Carolina women's basketball was described by the Iowa coach as like being in a bar fight. Now, if you're talking about guys, that's like probably a good thing, especially when you talk about the way I grew up watching basketball. It was rough and tumble. People, especially we call East Coast, West Coast. If you had East Coast basketball, that meant if you drove into the lane, try to do a layup, and you were untouched and not made to pay a price for that, you were almost considered, the team that was doing that was considered to be a punk. You couldn't do that. You couldn't let your man go into the lane without him paying a price, and to some degree, her paying a price because women picked up some of those same mores when they began to play. And evidently, South Carolina, the women, they're tough and they don't play around. They play a very physical brand of basketball. And the description was that it was like, again, like being in a bar fight. Now I'm just gonna see if I can read some of this for you and also share my screen. But Coach Dawn Staley was feeling some kind of way about that. She really wasn't pleased about those kind of comments at all. And she felt that it is kind to, to some degree, harkening back and even having some racial overtones. And let me see if I can get that article up here for you guys so we can talk a little bit about that. I'd love to have your comments as what you think about that. First of all, when you start talking about a bar fight, you start talking about women, there's already a stigma, about, women and kind of their physical looks and so forth. But I don't know. Let me see if I can share this page for you right here. Me personally, I'm thinking to myself, most of the women I see today, especially when playing sports, there's a new sensibility. Now, don't get me wrong. There is still, unfortunately, a little nasty undercurrent of. I know some people are going to get mad. They're going to say, "Brother, hey, somebody's lifestyle is their lifestyle." But in women's sports, there has been an undercurrent at times. Please don't take my comments out of context. At times of aggressive lesbianism. Now, I know some people are going to say, "Oh, you hear what the preacher said," but I'm just saying from what I've read, speaking to people who are parents of female athletes and hearing stories and things from magazines like Sports Spectrum, there is at times, and again, please don't take it out of context, but at times there is, I'm gonna say the word again, an aggressive lesbianism that you find in the world of women's sports. And at times it taints to me the sport. The same way that men's sports with our aggressive womanizing taints the sport as well. It's a two-edged sword. But as women continue to make great strides in the world of sports, at some point they're going to have to kind of check this because it's a problem. Because like all sports, you are trying to appeal to families. All right, let me stop right here because what's going to happen? I know I'm going to go down the wormhole, and then everybody's going to get mad, and we're not going to have a good conversation about this. So let us go back here to again the comments. I'm gonna pull the article up. I have to just pull it down here. See, bear with me. But the comments were again, playing South Carolina was like being in a bar fight, and yeah, that kind of has kind of a thuggish overtone to it. Now I'm gonna share this screen here. I want you to look at these ladies here, and I just want to see if you think that these ladies look like they've been in some kind of bar fight, or these are women that you would think about being in a bar fight. I'm just saying. And I know women today, sometimes they have to throw down, but I'm gonna go ahead and pop this screen up here for you, let you guys take a look here at this. All right, let me let you guys take a peek here. Let's put it up here. I'm gonna share the screen. And here we go. And I thank you for those of you who are listening to this on the legendary WIGO Pacesetter 1570, because you're saying, dude, we can't see anything. We're listening on the radio. So we appreciate those of you who are bearing with us here as we try to show some of this information. And of course, I'll read you some of the comments that Coach Staley said in just a minute. But for those of you who are watching, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this up here and let them go ahead and make it do what it do here. So here's what we do. And we're going to go ahead and pop this up, and we're going to look at the screen here. Let you guys kind of take a peek at this. Let me get the screen cranking here. No, wrong screen. I want to go ahead and get out of here for a second here. We're going to pop out of here because I can't get the screen to work for me the way I would like. So we'll have to do that on another day. We'll have to do that another time. We'll have to, kind of get that screen going another time. Up, there it is here. So now let me go ahead and flip there. There it is right there, guys. You can see it. There is the women's basketball right there. I mean, there's some of the team members. There's Coach Dawn Staley. I'm just saying. So why these women are being accused of being like bar fighters, I don't know. Again, it gets down to the idea of, you know, just playing tough basketball, playing a physical style. And Coach Staley said that's a style that's been successful for them. So, I mean, to me, it's like, hey, let them go. I mean, if they're not doing anything to injure someone, and they're not doing anything that is creating a situation where people are getting injured, then I don't get it. So I'm just saying, man. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and read it from. It's called The State, and I'm going to read this here, and hopefully I can read the thing clearly here. They kind of blocking me here a little bit, but let's kind of read it here as we get the article. And this is from The State. This is the newspaper out of South Carolina. This is what it says here. It says, win or lose, South Carolina's women's basketball coach Dawn Staley knew she had to go to bat for her roster after the final four games on Friday. She said, so when a reporter asked Staley about the truth about her team and its style of play after 77-73 loss to Iowa in the national semifinals, she delivered a clear message about, let's see, go back here, the clear message about her majority black roster in the sporting world at large, and one unnamed national media member in particular. Okay, so right off the rip, Coach Staley's like, hey man, this is kind of has some racial overtones to it. And let's see why she says that. She says, we're not thugs. We're not monkeys. We're not street fighters. The team exemplifies how you need to approach basketball on the court and off the court. And I do think that sometimes brought into the game and it hurts. And she goes on to continue to say in the article, Staley says she felt compelled to defend USC, which is not University of Southern California, but the University of South Carolina, and the dangerous narrative about its physical style of play after hearing through back channels that a national media member had crossed the line when criticizing South Carolina at a Final Four event held Thursday. She did not go into detail. Excuse me. She did not say what those comments were. Some of the people in the media, when you're gathering in public, you're saying things about our team. You're being heard, as being brought back to me. Staley said, and these are people that write nationally for our sport. Now, South Carolina, two-time national champion coach clarified that she and her team aren't above valid criticism. When you say things that should probably be staying in your home or in the phone or texting out in public, and you're being heard, and you're a national writer for our sport, it just confirms what we already know. So watch what you say when you're in public and when you're talking about my team in particular. Now, South Carolina came into the game against Iowa at 36-0. They were one of the dominant teams of the last decade and certainly looked like they were on course to win another national championship. But Iowa had an epic game played by their offensive player of the year, and they were able to outgun South Carolina 77-73. And it was really defense against offense. And in this case, offense won. All-American from Iowa, Caitlin Clark, pumped in 41 points and 8 assists as South Carolina's stingy defense could not stop her. And Iowa was able to win the game again and now head on to see if they can win the national title. So it really, I guess the problem is with these kind of things when you talk about bar fights. I know, and again, I don't want people to think that every time something is said against people of color, that immediately kind of goes into a racial situation. But unfortunately, the nation as a whole has created a narrative that has run really for most of my life. I mean, it's beyond that as well. But and so when you talk about women and you talk about bar fighting and you talk about the idea of thugs, and certainly we have no idea what this national media reporter said. It would have been great if we knew that, so this could have had some more layered conversation. But at the end of the day, it reminds me of days from my youth. Back in 1984, the Georgetown Hoyas, led by the late great coach John Thompson, they won a national title, went to the Final Four, I believe, 3 of the 4 years where they had Patrick Ewing. And these types of same comments were said about Georgetown. They were called thugs. They were called street brawlers. And, Patrick Ewing himself was called monkeys and all types of other things, which, again, have racial stereotypes to them. And so we're in a situation where I'm not trying to say that you can't say anything about people, but people know. I mean, when you call somebody a monkey, that's really like a racial slur. Come on now, you know that. Okay, and when you talk about somebody being thugs, because here's my question: do you say that about teams that are predominantly white? I'm not trying to again make this a racial thing, but it is what it is. These types of terms. When's the last time you heard a white person call a monkey? I'm just saying. When's the last time you really heard about thug and that kind of terminology used about a team that most of the players on the team were white? You don't. The terminology you hear about that is physical, rough and tumble, aggressive. Those are the kind of terms that you hear when you're talking about teams that are predominantly white or teams that have at least, a more of a 50-50 type breakup in the team. They don't talk about, they don't use those terms very rarely, very rarely. And if you look, like especially if you go, like say for example, look at a sport like football, which obviously physicality is part of the game, but every now and then you might have heard about the Chicago Bears of the 80s using thuggery, but usually it talked about the aggressive defense. It talked about the physicality style of play. Same thing with the Ravens back in the year 2000. Nobody, if you look at those teams, man, them guys did some all kind of crazy stuff. Body slamming people. Nobody called them thugs. And again, I understand that football lends itself more to not having that kind of conversation because it is a sport that's a physical sport. But at the end of the day, it just strikes me odd that we have to constantly use these types of sentiments when the teams again are predominantly African American. It's a bad look. Again, maybe we're making too much about nothing. What do you think? I mean, do you think that that kind of terminology should have been used about South Carolina? Do you think that Coach Staley might have been taking it out of context? And doggone it, Coach, I wish you would have went ahead and told us what the media member said. So again, we could kind of flesh this out. But before we go any further, kudos, shout out, and congratulations to the Lady Hawkeyes of Iowa, who again knocked off the undefeated number one overall ranked South Carolina Lady Gamecocks, 77-73. That's the bottom line. Iowa's the winner. Caitlin Clark, again, a game for the ages, 41 points, 8 assists. Even though South Carolina's defense is stout, their play very physical. At the end of the day, they had no answer for young Miss Clark as she goes on to lead her team into the national title game. And we can expect Iowa will conduct themselves as best they can to try to win that title. And again, South Carolina was a reigning national champion. Everybody was getting ready to crown them as the next new dynasty. But unfortunately, that was not the case. Like I said, again, it was just a situation where offense overran defense. Because, like I said, South Carolina came in one of the dominant defensive teams in the college women's college basketball. And matter of fact, they had Defensive Player of the Year, Aaliyah Boston. So again, they were amongst the best, but it happened. It happened to UConn. It's happened to South Carolina. It happened to the University of Tennessee when they had their great run under the late coach. And I'm drawing a blank right now. Well, have mercy. Isn't that a shame when your mind goes? It just goes into the atmosphere. But anyway, those great Tennessee teams, everything has ups and downs. Dynasties come and then they go down. That's just the way things work. But again, that takes no shine off of the accomplishments of the South Carolina Gamecocks, or Lady Gamecocks, I should say, going 36-0 coming into the tournament and winning over 40 games when you really think about it. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. 36-0, including the tournament wins. So again, the epic run, no disrespect to them. They just got beat by a Iowa team and a great player. And I told somebody this last week about when we were talking about the men's Final Four. This happens all the time. You get into situations where in college you can have a dominant player overshadow and take down and propel his team or her team by their sheer will and their athletic performance to win titles. This is the way it works. We saw many years ago, and you guys have to Google this up. I think it was in the 75 NCAA tournament. Kentucky had a forward by the name of Jack Goose Givens. He dropped 42 points in the NCAA championship game. Without that, Kentucky wouldn't have won. It happens. Because in college, it's much easier for a single player to have a dominant game to take his team to a victory in a winner takes all situation. Because again, it's not like they had to play South Carolina in a best of seven. I think in that circumstance, South Carolina would probably win a series, but that's not how it's done. And that's why March Madness is so compelling, both for men and women. On the men's side, you got the same thing. So, but again, I just think that we should be very careful on how we talk about people. And here's the other thing, too, which I think we forget, whether it be Georgetown back in the 80s or whether it be South Carolina now. Technically speaking, and I get it, young people commit crimes, they do some heinous things. But in essence, when you compare college students to thugs, now if the shoe fits, occasionally we get this kind of stuff that goes on, but it was physical style of play. And like I said, oftentimes you don't hear that until, you know what? Let me take a woosah moment. Stop right here. I got so excited. I forgot we're going over the time and we got to take a quick break. You have to keep it locked right here. And we're going to do something when we come back, but you won't find out unless you stay tuned to the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast to you on all the platforms, including the legendary WIGO Pacesetter 1570. We'll be right back in just a moment.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
Oh, yeah. My man, JB Smooth, come out of that break. Appreciate him. Appreciate the groove. And appreciate you for tuning in and watching and listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. It's a little rainy here in Georgia, but I feel like the sun is shining. So I had to put on my shades, my Terminator shades. For those of you, again, who are watching this for WIGO, listen, I'm trying to give you a descriptive situation on how we're doing it here in our virtual studios in an undisclosed location. Yeah, so again, you're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons. That's right, I'm a real minister. I did not get my license from out of the internet. I am officially licensed. I was licensed, and I did my very first sermon back in 1991. Ooh, dang, the preacher getting old. And I was licensed in the Baptist denomination, excuse me. And I was licensed by my good friend, pastor, still is pastor of the Calvary Baptist Church, Jeffrey A. Ingram. So, Pastor Ingram, if you see this pop up on Facebook, love you, brother. Appreciate you. Got me started in the ministry back in 1991. Ironically, it was actually 1 decade to the day before 9/11. It was actually September 11th, 1991. Did my first sermon. So, yes, I'm a little real life minister. And like I said again, we appreciate you for joining us here. Every now and then, you will hear the minister put on his ministerial cap and kind of get into the sensibility of how things would look from a godly perspective. But don't be afraid. I do it with great charm and decorum, and tell the truth, because the truth will set you free. I remember you can find out more about us. You need to follow us on social media. Here it is right here. Follow the show at Real Talk Sports, the number 7. Follow me personally at Minister J Sims. That's Minister, the letter J, SIMM. You can also follow any of our team members. We have a show on Tuesday. For those of you who don't know, we actually come on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. That's right, on the same back channels, 8 o'clock p.m. on Tuesdays. Join us and join the lovely Miss Tree Dolman and the champion, Tyrone Poole. That's right, we have a Super Bowl champion. Tyrone Poole has won not one, but 2 Super Bowl titles. He played for the New England Patriots and played for over a decade in the NFL. And Miss Dolman, the lovely Miss Dolman, is in fact was the reigning Miss International America queen for 2 years because of COVID. She is one of the few women ever to hold the title for multiple years. So check us out, 8 p.m. Again, you want to find out more about us, hit us up on the Real Talk Sports, the number 7. Follow us on social media there. And last but not least, I want to give one more big shout out to Allen Vigil Ford and Lincoln. They are actually my employer. I work for them full time, but they're one of our primary sponsors of our show. But not only that, they also sponsor our high school football telecast, which we do on Friday nights during football season. So we appreciate them. Big shout out to them. They're located at 6790 Mount Zion Boulevard in the city of Morrow, Georgia. Now, the cool thing is that, like on a day like today where it's raining, you don't want to come out, no worries. You can shop them 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. And when you do, remember, call me. I'm your guy, help you out. Anything you might need in the way of a new car or a pre-owned car, give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to assist you. And the best way, like I say, you can do it, kind of get yourself the information ahead of time. Go onto the website, as you see it right there for those of you who are watching. But for those of you who are listening, it's allenvigilford.net. Now, very critical, Allen is spelled differently. It's Allan. Vigil is Vigil. Ford, of course, .net. So allenvigilford.net, shop them 24/7. And then when you find the car you want, give me a call, 678-364-3979, and we'll help you out and take care of you in whatever you need in the way of an automobile of any type. Could be a car, van, or a truck. Yes, let's get back to some sports talk. Yeah, like I said again, we really have to be careful on how we, say things and do things. We want to make sure that we are not sending out the wrong signal and saying the wrong things against anybody. And I know earlier today you guys heard me talk about this idea of women's sports being tainted to some degree by aggressive lesbianism. And again, I'm not taking shots at anybody in particular. I'm just saying that's a reality. Because yeah, you're right. Preaching what you do in your bedroom is your business. You are absolutely correct on that. And that's why I say when it spills into being something aggressive that you would now press upon somebody else, that's when you've crossed the line. Because again, we're talking about kids. We're talking about people that's starting at the high school level. Bad, bad, bad. And the same thing on the men's side. Excessive and aggressive womanizing. I mean, this situation that you have in Alabama. For those of you who don't know, the University of Alabama, one of their players shot and killed a woman because she refused to go out with him, basically is the short part of the story. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Story of athletes sexually assaulting women. I mean, it's not good for anybody, but it's ridiculous. And oftentimes, if we're being truthful, OGs, uh, post OGs, whatever you want to call them, millennials, post millennials, Gen Xers, especially Gen Xers and baby boomers, we have been derelict in duty because we kind of like that. I mean, you think about the stories, and some of these players, are famous players, whether it be Michael Jordan, whether it be Magic Johnson. All these guys had reputation of being womanizers, and we actually condone that, and in some cases encourage that. We talk about sowing wild oats and all that kind of stuff. No, I get it. We're all tempted. The preacher is tempted just like anybody else. I'm a man. But we don't want to have this type of sensibility being aggressively, the operative word there, aggressively promoted to our children. Let's take a time out, pump the brakes. And that's all from the preacher's pulpit for today. All right, let's get back to sports. As I mentioned, the Final Four for the women is set. The marquee matchup that everybody wanted. Well, I shouldn't say that. Iowa was a great team as well as South Carolina. They were ranked number 2 in their region. In the other game, not as much fanfare, but also a great game against 2 great teams. Number 1 ranked Virginia Tech. They were number 1 ranked in their region, was knocked off by LSU. And everybody, I'm sure, is excited about that because LSU has shown some glamour and firepower with their coach and their star player, showing that, once again, you can be feminine, but you can be a baller. Angel Reese, they call her the Bayou Barbie, was balling out last night for LSU. 24 points, 12 rebounds. Alexis Morris, their Mercurial guard, dropped 27 as well. And LaDasia Williams, 16 points and 7 rebounds. They combined to help the Tigers come up with a huge fourth quarter where they outscored Virginia Tech 29-13. And that was the victory. Tigers went in trailing into that fourth quarter. But again, an epic run to knock off the Lady Hokies 79-72. And we sets up a big showdown with Iowa, led by probably the nation's best player, Caitlin Clark, and LSU hanging on. Excuse me, not hanging on, but LSU mounting the challenge to see who will be the women's basketball champion. If I'm not mistaken, this would be the first women's title or first title for either one of these teams that they win. So Iowa and LSU, somebody going to have the crown for the first time, and it should be an exciting matchup. Meanwhile, over the men, we will see today who will be the winners here. And I can't call it Cinderella, but it's like a Cinderella Palooza for the men. You have number 5 ranked San Diego State against number 9 ranked Florida Atlantic in the opening tip-off at 6 o'clock about. And in the nightcap, the Miami Hurricanes against the UConn Huskies. Big shout out to my home state of Connecticut, the Husky team. A lot of people think that they are one of the best overall teams. In one of my other brackets, I had them as a sentimental pick to win the whole thing. So we'll see if that will happen for the Huskies. This is not their first rodeo. This team has won a couple of national titles. They did it back in the day in the 90s and early 2000s, where the UConn men and women were ruling the roost for college basketball. And we had some great play out of UConn. We've had some great players out of UConn. A lot of people know that Ray Allen played for UConn. So, Rip Hamilton played for UConn. So UConn men have produced some outstanding players, both at the collegiate and men's level. And we're going to see if they can hang on to knock off the Hurricanes and head back to the Final Four, where they have not been for some time. And I'm trying to think of the great coach of a UConn. They said today, maybe because it's Saturday morning. Jim Calhoun, that's it. Jim Calhoun was the coach. They brought him in actually when I was at Northeastern, stunningly, about 40 years ago. He was a young guy then, back in his early 30s, and he took Northeastern at that time and got them into postseason play, and then later went on to coach at UConn, where he won multiple national titles. So UConn men back in the Final Four again, facing Miami. And then again, in the early game, it's the battle of two Cinderellas, which I know that either team would probably say, we ain't no Cinderella. The San Diego State against Florida Atlantic. So it should be great stuff there as these four teams try to win here. And UConn, again, the only one of those four teams that has actually won a national title. So it should be must-see TV. And that's going to start at probably about another 8 hours from now. So go ahead and do your shopping, get your food, all the stuff you need to eat. Take care of that and get ready to enjoy the game. So it should be good fun. Good fun all the way around. Look, I'm going to do this for you right now. For those of you who are watching the broadcast, I'm going to do this. I'll put up on the screen here, if in case you want to pop in and be a part of the show. We're going to let you do this. You're going to say, well, how are you going to let me do that? I'm going to let you come on in. You're going to see momentarily a link that you can use on your phone or on your laptop, and it will actually let you be a part of the broadcast. And I'm going to put it up here first. Let's talk some sports. And for those of you watching, say your eyes ain't on the screen. That's because I can't type and look at you at the same time. And for those of you listening, I'm going to do this. I'm going to use my virtual phone system. For those of you listening to us on the legendary WIGO Pacesetter 1570 or on the TuneIn Radio app, call the virtual phone line 678-3. Let me stop. I'll do it one more time. 678-304-8121, and we'll get you on the air. You call on like a regular sports show. So again, if you want to join us via phone, 678-304-8121. I'm going to pop up on the screen for those of you who are watching and want to join us actually on the broadcast. We're going to pop that link up for you in just a minute, and you can come on and join us and be a part of the show. Because like I said, Saturday morning, we kind of keep it loose and free. You notice the minister, for those of you who watch me or know me, I always try to be suited and booted, baby. But on Saturday morning, I'm chilling. Unless I'm doing this from my work location. I got the golf shirt on. and it's supposed to be about 78 degrees here in Atlanta. I'm already ready for the spring and summer. I'm telling you that right now. So, you know, I'm just saying, this is your time. Let's have some fun. Let's talk some sports. Anything you want to talk about in the national news, like I said, Final Four, men's or women. You want to talk some football? We're going to get into that in just a moment. Kind of join us. You can talk some football. We're going to talk about the Falcons, especially because we're down here in Atlanta. What you guys think about what the Falcons have done in the free agent market so far, and you're going to hear my bold prediction early, way too early prediction on what I think the Falcons are going to do in this next upcoming year. So, and I'm just going to put it up here. Again, phone number, you want to call us and have some fun, 678-304-8121. And like I said, for those of you who are watching, I'm about to post a link right now. Bam! Again, like I said, just copy the link. You'll see it up on the screen. Copy, put it into your laptop or put it into your phone, and you can be a part of the Real Talk Sports Show here as we chop it up here on a Saturday morning. It's a rainy night in Georgia. Actually, it's a rainy day in Georgia right now. Here we broadcast to you just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, in an undisclosed location. But again, having good fun with you. Appreciate all those of you who have decided to pop in and join us and talk a little sports. Now, the other thing that has started, because it's March, and actually, excuse me, today is April. Don't you be pulling no April Fool's jokes on nobody. It's baseball season. Baseball time is here, and baseball's come up with some, I don't want to say goofy, but they got some changes. First of all, they actually made the size of the base bigger. So if you guys have seen this, the base size, I think, is like of another 4 inches total in size. And the other thing too is they got pitchers and batters on a clock. Like, so now when you get up to the plate, you only have so many seconds to actually be ready to take a swing at the ball. So if the pitcher's ready and the batter gets in, remember back in the day, even you saw guys be doing this with the wrist and be checking the wristband and putting some extra, dirt on the hands, all that kind of stuff, step in the box, put the hand up. Can't do that anymore in baseball. Now, like once the pitcher's ready, you think you only have a few seconds to get ready to swing at the ball, because if not, guess what they're going to do? They're going to call a strike on you. Huh? That's right, they're going to call a strike on you. Same thing with the pitcher. The pitcher can't go to his waist 2-3 times, the back of his neck, get some Vaseline. Well, I'm not supposed to say that. Can't do all that stuff. Now you have to be ready to pitch. If the batter's in the box, you don't pitch after a certain time, they're going to call a ball on the pitcher. So, what does that mean? That means, in addition to some of the other rules they have, which again, larger bases, pitchers and batters have to be ready quicker. And oh, by the way, the infamous shift in baseball, like if a batter is known to basically, if he's a right-hander, for those of you who may not be familiar, if a batter was to hit a ball and pull it, that means he's going to hit it towards his opposite hand side. So if he's a right-hand batter, he's going to naturally pull the ball towards the left. Well, guys that used to do that and hit the ball extremely hard, they used to do what they call a shift. So they actually would move players from their normal natural position over, so they would have literally extra players in the area where they thought the pull hitter would be most likely to hit the ball. Can't do that no more. You got to kind of stay in the general area where you're supposed to be. So now, between that, the larger bases, the less time to get ready in the box on the pitcher's mound, what do you think they're trying to do? They're trying to get more offense. They want more runs to be scored. And they want the games to go quicker. What do you think of all that? Do you think all that stuff is a good idea? You think all these changes they're making are good? Again, here it is. I'll pop it up on the screen for you so you can see it. If you want to join the broadcast virtually, you can kind of pop on in. There it is right there. That's the link. You copy it, paste it, put it in your phone, and you can be a part of the broadcast. If you're saying, man, it's Saturday morning, my hair's nappy, or for you ladies, my Saturday morning, I got my makeup's not on fleek, hair not did, no problem. You can go on like you do on Zoom. You can sit there in your underwear, as far as I'm concerned, and just put your avatar up there. Now, if you're going to sit in your underwear, and I see you on the screen, I probably won't bring you on, because my eyes, unless I have to do this, I have to kind of grab my shades and put them on. So again, if you want to come on the show and you really feel that Saturday morning you don't want to get dressed, you want to come in your underwear, as long as you're not naked, I guess we might bring you on and let the viewers tell us what it may be. And even I'll have the listeners on WIGO tell us, because I'll give a description of your garments and your outfit. Just saying. A lot of stuff going on here in the sports show. Well, speaking of going on, you know how we do it. The technology is working. Back at the studio for WIGO, our producer has said she wants to jump on the air. So while she is making sure all the buttons are operating properly at WIGO 1570, we're going to pop her on so she can say hello to all of us. She is known as Lady E. And here she is in the building. Good morning.
Well, good morning to you. And yes, I wanted to make sure my hair wasn't nappy and my makeup was on before I appeared on your show today. So, how are you?
I'm doing good, and it looks like everything is in order, Lady E. You're looking good.
Thank you so much. My nose is a little shiny, but that's okay.
That's okay. That's all right. You're doing good. Well, guys, as you can hear by that lovely voice, that sultry voice, you need to tune in to WIGO 1570 on the regular. And especially, well, I'm going to let her tell you for herself. What day do you come on with your own program, Lady E?
Well, my show is called The History, the Song, the Artist. I've been telling the stories of famous recording artists, African American recording artists who captured the world in song. That's my slogan. They captured the world in song. So, what I do is go through the entire bio in part. I don't give you a 2 hour show that just tells some of it. I give you a show every week in part that's going to tell you all of the story. So you can tune in tomorrow at 5 p.m. after church or after you do the laundry or whatever you want to do. Please tune in at 5 p.m. tomorrow. I've been telling the story of the fabulous Faith Evans, her life story, and her life story with Biggie Smalls as well. I've been featuring artists that are associated with her and Bad Boy Records because Bad Boy Records was the first record company that Faith Evans signed with. Sean Puffy Combs heard her voice in a session and said, "Would you like to sign on with my company?" And she said yes. So anything that's associated with faith or anyone that's associated with faith. I do a small bio on them inside of her story. So again, tune in tomorrow, Sunday at 5 p.m. for the history, the song, the artist with yours truly, Erica Holloway, better known as Lady E on the legendary WIGO 1570 Pace Setter. Back to you, Jonathan.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, see, guys, that hear that sound? That's a you know you want to tune in and hear that voice. You already know. So you need to check her out on Sunday. And also listen, stay tuned always to WIGO 1570, legendary WIGO 1570. It is really why we call ourselves the pace setters because we are setting the pace for radio as it should be done in this decade. And what do you mean by that, preacher? We mean that we're everywhere. We're on regular AM dial. That's right. We're still on AM dial, pumping through a 30-mile radius around Metro Atlanta. So that means you can pretty much hear us anywhere in Metro Atlanta. And number two, we're also online 24/7 at WIGO1570.com. And wait, there's more. We also can be heard on the TuneIn app. That's right. It's a free app. Download the app. It's absolutely free. Now, they have a little thing saying pay for the subscription. Just bypass that. It's cool. And when you put in WIGO 1570 in the search engine, voila, you can hear us right now. That means even if you're outside of that 30-mile radius, guess what? Now, you know, y'all got them cars that you can play your apps in your car. Bam! You can hear me, the minister, and Lady E, anywhere in the country.
Mhm.
And last but not least, where do you know radio station that not only gives you a podcast, but live streaming like we're doing right now? Because that's right. If you go to our Facebook page, you will see this show right now. So,
Right. And you know what,
I'm
John, too, I've had my car a moment, but I didn't realize that there was one feature I did not use. And it's you can plug in your USB and hear whatever you want to hear. If you have a podcast on your USB, plug it in. You can hear yourself. Or if you have music that you want to plug in, or if you have programming from WIGO
telling
that
the
you
truth.
recorded, plug that in and listen to it again and again and again. So yeah, there's all kinds of ways you can listen to the legendary WIGO right
Just
now.
saying. I'm just saying you can enjoy us wherever you may be. Now, lady, I'm gonna have you do a little housekeeping. If you can just turn down your monitor just a little teensy weensy,
Oh,
that would be fantastic. I can kind of hear
I'm
you and hear you again.
I'm red hot.
Red hot. It's all good though. It's all good. Yeah, because and realize, guys, that when we're doing multitasking like this, we have to still monitor how we sound on social media. So Erica was doing that, making sure that we sound like we're supposed to sound, not sound like just saying. So doing some multitasking there as we do it. Like I said, guys, we appreciate you for locking in to join us here on Saturday mornings. And I want to say this: the other thing that we do that makes us legendary, it's beyond just the fact that the WIGO name in the city of Atlanta is legendary because it was one of the first stations in Atlanta to focus on urban programming. That's a
Yes,
nice way of saying programming for African American folks. Yes,
absolutely.
indeed. So along with WAOK, which interestingly enough is owned, we used to be owned by CBS, is now owned by the folks that Odyssey, I guess it is now. They were the only two stations that really catered to music. Not really music liked by all people, but again, gospel music, R&B. It wasn't old school R&B then; it's old school R&B
Right.
now, and
Hmm.
music of that type where it couldn't be found on the regular air quote mainstream stations. So that's why
Right.
we called ourselves, went back to the legendary. And the reason why we're pace setters because what I just told you, we're trying to set the pace to bring you radio in a different way, radio that you would expect in the year 2023 and not in the year 1963. So just this right here. Oh, go ahead. We had a comment here on social media. I did not see what popped up right here. DJ said, who wanted the game sped up? And we were talking about baseball earlier. Fans, Major League Baseball. I was at opening day at Nats Park at and on Thursday, and I think the pitch clock gets pitchers out of their rhythm. The same for the batters. She also says she's old school, likes the game the way it was. I guess more people want to see more action. Yeah, so I mean, if you guys want to talk about that, we definitely want to hear your opinion on what you think about this whole idea of changing the rules. Because Lady E, this is the one thing that sometimes gets to be a problem in sports, and we're going to take a break and talk more about that. Is this idea of changing the game to fit people outside the game? Want to hear your thoughts about that? We're going to take a quick little mini break, and we'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a moment. Don't go nowhere.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. Or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net.
And we are back here, the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and right next to me in the studios of the legendary WIGO is the lovely Miss Lady E. And again, you can check her out. She's got a great program on Sunday afternoons that is really must listening, especially if you want to. It's really, I don't want to. I shouldn't really borrow from this, but it kind of reminds me of Unsung for the radio.
Yes. Wow, that's pretty good. I
I
like
got
that.
that feel. You want to copy that? We can go back and use that. It's okay. No copyright fees attached.
Yes. Wow. Uh,
So, guys, like you said again, we Saturday morning we kind of keep it loose and free. We give an opportunity for you to join in. We want to especially thank those of you who are watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much. Again, we appreciate you. We got another comment here from social media, and it's simply saying, "Good morning, Lady E from DJ," and she likes the show. Praise the Lord.
oh, wow. Well, good morning to you.
We appreciate you. Again, we appreciate everybody who tunes in to the broadcast. However you do it. We want to just show you the love, man. And here's the thing. Oh, I forgot about something, lady. Before we get into the final segment of our program, if you, that's right, if you have a compelling sports story, if you have a young person, or if you have a coach that you think, hey, you know what, their story is something needs to be on the air. Well, look, I'm gonna put it up right here for you so you can do this. Contact me 678-410-9833. That is the cell phone, or you email jsimmons@realtalksports.net. And that's the letter J, JSIMMONS at realtalksports, plural, sports with S on the end, .net. We are looking to bring on people that are doing things that are good, not only on the field and on the court, but off the court as well. Those of you who know and follow me, I've had interviews with lots of great people in the world of sports, lots of great men and women. And we want you to tell us more about what you have going on. So please, man, please, sir, please join us and be a part of our show. We'd love to have you on, and we'd love to have you be a part of, you know, what we like to say, sharing the good news of sports. So one more time here, I'll let you guys know. Hit me up by phone, jsimmons@realtalksports.net, or you also can just simply call me or text me on the cell, 678-410-9833. So again, we'd love to have you join us and be a part of it. And like I said, we want to get the word out, man. There's enough bad news as is already. I
Right.
mean, it's just we want to tell you something good, because there's lots of good stuff that's going on out there. So come on, folks. Let's have some fun on Saturday mornings and talk something good. All right, lady. Normally on Saturdays you like to wear your Falcons garb, and and
You what?
rightfully so, because the Falcons have been in the news. I mean,
I
the Falcons have been in the news.
They just signed an offensive backup.
They did.
That right?
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. They
uh,
sure did.
John Miles. Is it John Miles? The name?
Yep, offensive lineman John Miles to a one-year deal. Let's go ahead and read the headline really quickly. Falcons signed offensive lineman John Miles to a one-year deal. The offensive tackle has played in a total of 17 games since he has been on the field of the NFL. He primarily played for the Cardinals. Let's go ahead and read the article here from thefalcons.com. It says Falcons have signed offensive lineman Josh Miles, to a one-year deal. The organization announced on Friday. Miles was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals in the the seventh round of 219. Okay, this is what happens when you try to say four sentences at one time. Let me slow down. Miles was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals in the seventh round of the 2019 NFL Draft. As a backup offensive tackle, Miles saw action in 7 games in 2019 and 10 games in 2021. He has not started a game since joining the league, nor did he see action at all in 2020 or 2022. So clearly, this guy is kind of a what am I looking for? A depth. Falcons trying to make sure that if they have any injuries, which injuries do happen, that in fact they'll have some backups. We're going to review for you again the signings, the big guy signing. Jesse Bates, the All-Pro safety out of Cincinnati, was probably their biggest signing, and linebacker Caden Ellis, a guy who is on the cusp of being a Pro Bowler at the linebacker position. Those are probably their two biggest signings so far. So yeah, I mean, I give the Falcons some credit. They've been trying to do everything it looks like they can do to bolster this team and get them ready to really make a run for the playoffs.
Yes, I am hopeful of that, and I hope we pass the playoffs and get back to that Super Bowl and get me a ring.
Oh, Super Bowl. I tell you, every time I try to be negative, you know. Now I'm not gonna say it. There's sometimes you try to stay away from bad memories, but but to be honest, I mean the Falcons, the whole Falcons thing, as much as it was a bad memory, it was also a good memory, because for me it was the first time I ever went to a city that was having a Super Bowl. It was the first year I actually had covered the Falcons as a real live like media reporter for the entire season. And for me, it was a landmark event because it was the first time I got any type of credentials at a Super Bowl event. The credentials I got were for the Super Bowl prayer breakfast they do every year, and got a chance to see some great NFL Hall of Famers. And actually, I tell this story quite often for those of you who follow us, is that it actually moved me to tears
Mm,
because I remember standing there in the Marriott Hotel waiting to go into the breakfast and looking outside the huge glass windows and seeing, all the Super Bowl paraphernalia, this big 50-foot, a poster of Julio Jones, and then on the other side, a big 50-foot poster of Tom Brady, and
yeah.
seeing the word Super Bowl 51, and thinking about my dear departed mother who had told me, dear, you have to stay involved in the sports broadcasting, where the Lord's going to take you, and thinking of how excited she would be and how proud to see me there and actually being a part of that Super Bowl 51 coverage. So, yeah, even though the Falcons lost in a disastrous way, certainly the week of that game and up until really that last minute of the fourth quarter, I really wanted great times ever.
Good. That sounds great. And I'm hopeful that we make it there so that I can I'm gonna try and save my money so that I can get to that Super Bowl. I really would love for them to get there again. And that's one thing we can say about the Falcons. They have been there. It's just that we got to come up with that win. We got to get it.
Well,
So I
here's what you know.
before them
You know
this
good
year.
and well. You know good and well that everybody, I don't say that the whole country, where everybody is trying to get to Vegas for the Super Bowl. So for those of you who don't know, next year's Super Bowl is going to be held in Las Vegas.
Yes.
So, people are going to be all cranked up to go there. I've never been to Vegas, so I'm kind of looking to go there.
You've never
Yeah.
been to Vegas? Oh my.
Uh,
There was at one point in my life, Jonathan, when I went to Vegas every year. I could tell people where to go, what hotels to stay in, where to go eat, where to go to the great shows. I was just that dedicated to being there.
so in other words, I need to consult you before I make my trip plans. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, you know what? I haven't been there in a while, so I'm sure there's some changes that they've made since I was last there, but I can tell you this, their hotels have their own character. The architecture is spectacular. That's one of the things you want to do is walk through those hotels and see those that great work that the construction guys have done.
Well, I look forward to it. I mean, certainly some of the things they've done in terms of the city replicas and so forth. I'm very excited to get out there. So, and I will tell people that if you are in fact planning to go, even though we're only in March and technically games like 9 months away, I can tell you from doing some early uh, reconnaissance, man, hotels, forget it. You have to go Airbnb, and even those are starting to get a little pricey. And the airline tickets are, I couldn't even go on to get some. So it's just real crazy, guys. So if you're trying to go, you better be about it soon. Speaking of better about it, we have to let Lady E be about it at the station because it's almost time for us to go, and we have another show coming on WIGO 1570. So we want to greet you and say thank you so much, Lady E, and appreciate all those of you who have been listening on the legendary WIGO pace set of 1570. Remember, lock in to that station because they're doing great stuff in the community. We have also community leaders that come in for different shows. We cover anything that's going on in South Metro Atlanta. So keep it locked right there. Also, remember online at WIGO1570.com. Also on Facebook and all social media, Instagram, Twitter, WIGO AM 1570. Check us out, guys. All right. Until next time, everybody, WIGO, we catch you again. Lady E, we appreciate you. And we say, as we always do, God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, whichever may apply. So long, everybody.
Bye bye.
There's Lady E, guys. Again, we appreciate you for locking in and joining us here. Remember, I'm gonna put my preacher back hat on again. If you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, please, man, please, sir, get to know him today. Nobody love you like Jesus. No one came here and did what he did, which was do what? Came here, lived a sinless life, died, and then rose from the dead. So here's the cool thing: you don't have to climb Mount Himalaya. You don't have to do anything great. All you have to do is repent of your sins, believe that Jesus came here, believe that he died for your sins and rose from the dead. Two great things happen. Number one, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number two, you become an adoptive child of God with all the rights therein. That means you now go to God as a loving father, ask him for anything that you need or desire, and according to his will, he'll give it to you. And number two, if and when you die, you go to that wonderful place called heaven where none of the following will be there. No pandemic, no bad people. It's beautiful all the time. You never die, you never get old, and you get a chance to be around God and Jesus Christ forever and ever and ever. And you avoid that nasty place called hell, where everything that's in heaven won't be in hell. Dark, stinks, dreary, bad people everywhere. And most of all, you cut off from God, Jesus Christ, the people that love God and the people that love you forever and a day. I don't know about you, but like option number one instead of option number two. All right, guys, like I said again, to the people at WI's, yo, and now those of you on social media, until the next time, God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your day. So long.